A YouTuber named Suspect Sky and his wife are convinced that something is waiting for them. Inside of their small closet, Suspect Sky slowly walks up to the closet and flings the door open, prepared for conflict, only to find nothing inside. They are relieved for just a moment, and then decide to get out of the house anyway. Something is still in there waiting for them. They think they can feel its presence and just want to leave as fast as they can, and when they looked at the video again later, they found out they were absolutely correct. A spirit pulls a member of the YouTube team, Kaza Sobrenatural, down a staircase in this scary video. Upon first entering the haunted place, they hear something, and they discover a rope tied to a wooden beam overhead.
A gente acabou de escutar os passos ali. Calma, Der. Tá muito iluminado ali, acho que não. Normal. E a corda continua aqui, aquela corda, cara, que tinha aqui, ó. Parecia que uma pessoa tava querendo se enforcar. Aqui.
Is that a noose? As they continue their search of the place, they hear a voice.
Escutou a voz aqui, ó. Olha lá. Escutou a voz?
Credo, Sandro.
They hear something again and start to head upstairs.
Sério, cara, não tô falando assim.
Ouviu? O que foi isso? Meu Deus.
Pega a mãe.
Sandro, o que foi isso?
Vamos lá.
Não pode.
Não, aqui eu sei, aqui. Vai, gente.
But they soon wish they wouldn't have.
Pegar aí.
Vamos sair daqui.
Nossa, pegar aí.
Vamos sair daqui.
Ô, cara.
Meu Deus do céu, Sandro.
Que cara? Ô, velho. Que Lucas? Ô, Lucas.
What just dragged this crew member down the stairs? If it is indeed a spirit, I wouldn't be following it downward. It may be leading this team to the fiery depths below. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration aircraft took advantage of flying through Hurricane Irma to show us by taking this horrifying video of the storm outside. As the aircraft flew through the Atlantic Ocean's most powerful hurricane ever recorded, it gained vital information of the storm's path using drop sensors, as well as measuring the storm's intensities via radar readings. Irma made landfall in the Caribbean. Hurricane winds and rains whipped the airplane as it stood in the midst of Irma's power, but slowly the clouds lightened and the blue sky could be seen while the rain ceased. The contrast shows the magnitude and absolute power of a hurricane at full throttle. A YouTuber named Frostbitten looks out his window one evening and sees what he thinks is Slender Man peering up at him from below.
Beleza. Right there.
You can see it much better when he moves away from the screen door.
Oh, crap.
I do see what he's talking about, and so do some other viewers in the comments section. I can't tell for sure, but it looks like something with a pale head and long arms might be looking up at him. I can't really make out if it's wearing a suit or standing behind the tree. Then again, maybe this human-like shape is simply light reflecting off of the woods. Let me know if you can see what Frostbitten is talking about, and if you agree with him or not. A YouTuber named Ben S is low on gas, so he pulls into a nearby station. He always wears a GoPro helmet when riding, and as he is fumbling with the card reader at the pump, it records something that he will have a tough time explaining later. A shadow passes by close enough to make Ben react. He turns around only to find nothing. What's really strange to me is how, if you pay close attention, you'll see the shadow disappear before it even makes it all the way across the pump. It's going from left to right normally and then suddenly vanishes somewhere in the middle. I know that shadows can sometimes play tricks on you, so I'm not gonna say that this is 100% paranormal. If you have a scientific explanation as to how this could have happened, please share. Until then, I am inclined to take Ben's word that this was a phantom figure. A YouTuber named Leo Tran is challenged to throw a plastic bottle cap into a trash bag from across the room. At 1 minute into the video, you can see something is out of the ordinary, but at 1 minute and 23 seconds, you can see a small face pop up in the window. The small face stays in the window for approximately 33 seconds and ducks out of the way when Leo goes to collect the trash bag. Does this look real or edited to you? A ghost investigation video from Oregon, while admittedly grainy and out of focus, nonetheless captures two possibly paranormal instances that are worth analyzing. The first is a brief materialization of a shirt or tunic against the wall. From this floating clothing item, a phantom person emerges. Barely noticeable are the head, nose, and two eyes. Then again, this could be wavy details caused by motion blur, but motion blur does not explain the glowing white eyes that briefly flicker at 11 seconds into the video and quickly go away. I don't care how poor the camera quality is, whatever this is, in my opinion, it should not be there, and yet it is. You gotta pay the troll toll. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the redditor is wondering what's watching her son and nephew from under this bridge. She explains that the pair were night fishing. When her son told the person, animal, or monster to show itself, there was no reaction. The thing they capture from beneath the bridge appears to be peeking out from behind the wall. Some say it looks human, others think it's more demonic. But Redditor user unknown writes, what many are thinking, I wouldn't stick around to find out. Neither would they apparently, because according to the Redditor, the pair fled, but behind him they heard clicking noises and something bashing through the trees. Perhaps a troll after his hard-earned cash. Mysterious footage of a strange event caught on CCTV leaves one man wondering if they live in a haunted house when a bookshelf purges itself of reading materials in the dark of night. Soon afterwards, the door opens and a man looks into the empty hallway like he's seen a ghost. Judging from his timid reaction, thrown objects are a classic sign of poltergeist activity. However, some people in the comments say this was done with strings. There's one book that falls in the opposite direction as the rest. Is this simple physics or another sign from the paranormal? As the Electric City paranormal ghost investigators walk down a dimly lit hall, the camera person makes a joke to help ease the tension. Take a look where the red arrow is. The empty spot is about to become important in a second. As soon as he turns around, he gets his question answered in the form of a tall silhouette. No one was there just a second ago, but someone is there now. A living shadow that somehow stands out in near total darkness. According to Steve, this area is infamous as the site in which a person who was taking people's lives during the 1950s hid the bodies, and he may have lived in this abandoned home nearby, hidden in the woods. Published by Steve Ronan in April of 2020. The crew quickly comes across some unsavory items. This is an arrangement of bird skulls. Later, they find another piece of animal anatomy. What type of animal is this spine from? And why is it here? I'm starting to wonder if Norman Bates lived here. One last creepy thing they come across are these little figurines. A skeleton and what looks to be Gollum. Is this actually the house of this 1950s maniac? Why were all these possessions left behind? And what is up with the bird skull trophies? I'd be staying far away from this house.
That's creepy. So just birds, huh? Bird skulls, or maybe mouse skulls?
No, I think it's like a rodent.
Yeah.
Like a family of rodents, but what them right here like this, I have no idea.
Go figure. The Great Salt Air in Salt Lake City is full of secrets. YouTube team Broken Wings Paranormal joins forces with Cold Spot Paranormal and discovers a giant figure is lurking in this spooky place.
Is he dancing? Can you raise your arm? Like this? Wave high? Hand up?
They capture the figure on the Kinect device in a dark room. Is it a giant?
Look how huge that is.
I know. Can you bend over and touch your toes?
It's growing. Its head is like almost off the screen on the little side.
Josh tries to reach out and touch it, and he feels something supernatural.
No, but I feel tinglies on my fingertips.
Stand up and let's see what happens. Oh, look at it leaning the other way.
It's like it's propping itself up with its elbow.
As Josh gets closer, the entity disappears.
Where he is. Oh, now
he
he's
left.
gone. You put your arm on it now.
You touched him and he left.
And he just...
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the minute you made contact.
In a surprising turn of events, it looks like the ghost got frightened by the living. It seems to me that Josh entered the spirit's personal space, and they didn't like it at all. I've got a challenge. The adventurer Abdullah Al-Anbari goes exploring an abandoned building in Saudi Arabia in search of a poltergeist, or a jinn as it's referred to in the area. There are many floors to explore, and each one holds horrors of its own. He turns around to see a mysterious figure that could be a jinn, or more likely the shadow of the banister in front of it. He continues to explore, and the paranormal activity continues to stay one step ahead of him. The ghost keeps throwing objects at him, guiding him in a way towards a final confrontation that he is not ready to witness. He looks up in time to capture a glimpse of a scary round face peering down at him. Tell me what he says to it on his way out. Whatever he says seems to cause him much anger based on what happens next.
ما راح اذيك ترى بس ابغى اتكلم معاك ولا راح اسوي لك شيء. اتوقع انه ما في احد يا جماعه. صدق الله شيء غريب يا جماعه.
He quickly leaves before the spirit becomes any more upset. Spirits seem to love to announce their presence by turning the lights on and off. Before we had flashlights, it was oil lanterns and candles. The scary phenomenon continues in a haunted house in South Wales when a spirit is told to show a sign. Startled, they investigate the incident by asking the ghost to communicate through this light. It's hard to tell from this creepy video if the flickering is a faulty wire or paranormal activity. A strange grin across his face at 1 minute and 47 seconds is a difficult response to read. A scared and nervous reaction is probably it. He's really being brave. Only a true ghost hunter can smile through their fear. Kevin LaShawn and his large group of friends feel fairly safe doing a 24-hour challenge in a mental asylum that's supposed to be haunted. They aren't expecting to find much, and for a while they don't. However, 2 experiments stand out in particular. First, they invite the ghosts to play a game of cards with them by setting up flashlights in a semicircle. The flashlights stay turned off during most of this experiment, but they do seem to repeatedly respond when one person in particular comes to the table. Perhaps this person has a natural tendency to attract spirits more than the others.
I guess they want you to play a game. Come over here, sit by me. They want you to play.
Whoa. These flashlights are turning on by themselves.
Later, Kevin is playing with an app on his phone that is supposed to communicate with ghosts when he gets some pretty interesting responses.
Is anybody in here? What's your name? My name's Kevin. What's your name?
Even if this app is programmed to say scripted phrases at random intervals, I do think it's odd that it says something similar to Kevin's name shortly after he introduces himself. Overall, Kevin is unable to verify that this location is haunted, though many of his viewers have decided it most likely is. Let me know what you think about this entry, and what other experiments Kevin and his friends could have done to summon any spirits. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Borley Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
Shut up, Katie.
Katie.
What the What the
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
See? What happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns.
Just leave tonight, mate.
It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof, but then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. There's nothing creepier than when your food moves on its own. Posted to TikTok by Jake M. Tapat, a woman is seen placing several small bowls out on a table for dinner. She notices one of the bowls twisting and sliding around on its own. She picks it up and wipes the bottom, thinking it might be that the bowl is wet. Placing it back, it still seems to twist for a moment. Is this just moisture at play? Or do we have a hungry ghost on our hands? A TikToker named Gallagher's from Jersey checks up on his child when he notices a second small head facing the opposite way and looking up. Its features vacant and half deformed. He rushes into the room and in his rage says he'll put an end to the spirit and calls it a name.
You son of a
Which I'm not sure was the best approach to take considering it had such easy access to his child. Look at this alleged ghost sighting again up close. It doesn't really look like a blanket or a toy to me, but I could be wrong. He never does show us the crib, but I guess he never figured out what it was since he went ahead and uploaded this strange video for us to analyze. Filipino YouTuber Tabiapo has captured a real Sigbin on camera in Barangay Sanko. After finding evidence of the creature, they come to the edge of this tall grass.
And guys, tinawag na natin yung mga elemento. Tignan natin kung lalabas ngayong hapon.
That's when they see this.
Ito na yung sinasabing Sigbin, guys. Nakita nyo? Ayan, oh. Ayan, naglalakad yung Sigbin, oh. Klaro-klaro, oh.
The creature has black fur. You can't even discern shades of color. He looks like a shadow himself.
Sigbin talaga, oh. Ito yung sinasabi ni Manang Flor kanina. Yung malaki yung tinga, tapos pula yung mata. Napakaitim na nilalang. Ayan yung creature na sinasabi ko. Ayan, oh. Oh?
Then it starts coming toward them.
Parang pupunta dito. Mga katabs, oh. Oh? Parang pupunta siya dito. Alis to, ah. O yan, dyan ka lang. O mga katabs, tingnan nyo, ha. Aagisan ko ng dapag na may orasyon.
Apparently these leaves are protection. What do you think of the Sigbin? To me, it looks a bit like a monkey with large bat-like ears. Its complete darkness also instills paranormal fear of the unknown. All I know is, I don't want that thing feeding on my shadow. A YouTuber named This Is Dan Bell has made a name for himself by exploring some of the creepiest abandoned places on Earth. This time, he is seeing what he can find at an abandoned house outside of Baltimore City, the former home of the notorious Stephen Craig Johnson to be exact. In 1983, Stephen Craig Johnson brutally ended the life of his child in a fit of delusional rage. The case grew famous all up and down the entire East Coast, and it doesn't look like anyone has lived in the house ever since. As Dan Bell travels deeper inside, you can feel the sadness and despair clinging to every room. Amidst the discarded debris and wreckage, Dan Bell finds a weird handwritten letter in the closet with illustrations of a woman on the front and back. There's a brief paragraph talking about how evil the house is and what can be done to stop it. Some of the handwriting is kind of hard to read, so if anyone wants to type this letter out, I would appreciate it. Two things seem kind of sketchy about this letter to me though. First of all, the ink does not look faded enough to be something from the 80s, and the paper does not seem very aged either. I don't think it was penned by anyone in the Johnson family, so maybe someone else snuck inside and placed it here in recent years. Dan Bell is understandably nervous at this point, but he has come this far and there's still an entire second floor left to explore. He eventually finds himself in a stale attic covered with scattered documents and heaps of trash. He's just about to leave when he makes eye contact with something that has been watching him all along. A vulture, the devourer of fallen animals, silently regards him from the floor. Its gaze is calm and expectant, almost prideful in a way. If this really is a wild animal and not staged, then it is almost certainly a bad omen for sure. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.